Hey, I'm Randy and you're watching The Cheap Audio Man. If you've never watched The Cheap Audio Man before, this is a speaker shootout. I'm excited to say that Sith Audio is sponsoring the channel once again, and as audiophiles, we all know how difficult it is to fuel properly for a workout, a real tough workout, because we're audiophiles. That's why we're all so lucky that Sith Audio has come out with their new fueling system. That's right, it's the Sith Audio New England Clam Chowder Exercise Fuel System. Whether you're getting ready for some hot yoga or driving down to your favorite dilapidated industrial park to do some CrossFit at your CrossFit box, there's only one answer to your exercise fueling problems, and that's Sith Audio's New England Clam Chowder Exercise Fuel. Eat it cold out of the can, mix it with your favorite chocolate protein powder, or drill a hole in the top and sip it throughout your workout. That's right. Sith Audio New England Clam Chowder Workout Fuel. It's so good. I got Sith New England Clam Chowder Workout Fuel all over my arm. Okay, what is a speaker shootout? If you haven't seen these before, it's where I compare multiple speakers in the same price category. This we're going to call the kind of $200 speaker shootout. So let's go through them. On the right, my beloved Sony SSCS5s. They retail for $170. However, they go down to $130 and sometimes even $80 on sale. It's not really a sale, it's more of a marketing strategy. Next to that, we have the JBL Stage A130s. They retail for $300, but they regularly go on sale for $200. I'm not going to say go on sale. They're $200 right now. Street price for these speakers, $200. It's a marketing strategy when they say they're on sale, but they continue to go on sale at the same price all the time. Okay, I digress. In the middle, the Polk ES15 retail price, $300, but again, these will go on sale down to, I think, $240, $250. ES, it's the new S line, okay? But it's the ES line. Signature Elite, but for whatever reason, the actual model number is ES. It's Signature Elite, but it's ES15. I don't understand why. Then here is the Polk Reboot, new X version, okay? XT20. 6.5-inch woofer. Okay, we're going to come back and tell you about all the driver sizes and stuff like that. Over here on my left, your right, is the Dayton Audio MK6000 something, $150. And this one doesn't go on sale. It's always $150. So let's go from my left to your right to your left. We have the Dayton Audio MK6000, okay? 6-inch woofer, 1-inch soft dome tweeter, $150. XT20 from Polk, retail $300, street price is around $225. I think these are $225 right now. 6.5-inch woofer, 1-inch soft dome tweeter, although they call it Terraline. It's a fancy way of saying soft dome tweeter. Polk ES15, 5.25-inch woofer, 1-inch soft dome Terraline driver. Stage A130, 5.25-inch kind of paperish woofer, 1-inch aluminum dome driver. So the only one here that is a little bit different from the rest. $300, regularly go on sale for $200. Over here, the Sony SSCS5, 5.25-inch paper kind of woofer, 1-inch soft dome tweeter, 3/4-inch soft super tweeter. All two ways except for this one. All soft dome tweeters except for this one. Okay, Stage A130, aluminum dome. All these speakers are rear ported. The ES15 has a little bit of technology in its port. I'll link all these in the description. If you want to learn more about them, then go ahead and check out the links. They all have 5-way binding posts. They're all built similarly except for the ES15. This one's built way better. Heavier enclosure. The two heaviest enclosures are the Stage A130 by JBL, the Polk ES15. Then as far as build quality goes, it would be the Sony SSCS5 followed by the Polk XT20. Pulling up the rear for build quality is the Dayton Audio. They're all okay, but you can tell there's a big difference between the Stage A130 and the ES15 to the rest of these speakers. These are built better, and I would assume are braced a bit better. Although the Sony SSCS5 is also braced pretty good because I've been inside it and seen it. These two are a little bit hollowier, more hollow. Okay, let's talk about bass. Generally, when we're talking about speakers in this price category, bass can be a bit thin. Doesn't mean it's bad though, because some of these speakers actually have very good bass tone, and texture. If I was talking about bass amount, the winner would be the Polk ES15, followed by the Polk XT20, although bass quantity may be a little bit more coming out of this. Overall quantity and quality would go to the ES15. Bass clarity, tone, texture, Sony SSCS5. Stage A130, followed by the Dayton Audio. I'm not saying the Dayton Audio is bad at all. Frankly, I was very surprised on how good the Dayton Audio actually sounds. However, on the Dayton Audio, there's a lot less bass quantity as the others. You can increase the amount of bass that you're hearing by positioning these closer or further away from the wall. Well, if you're going to increase it, you're going to need to put them closer to the wall. Tone and texture is probably better on the Sony and the JBL. Quantity goes to the two Polks. If I had to give one winner to this, it would be the ES15. It is a great combination of quantity and quality. Soundstage and Imaging. They all do a pretty good job, but the runaway winner would be the JBL Stage A130. When I put these up, they disappear very quickly. I don't really need to play around with their placement very much. Then it would be followed by the Sony SSCS5, the Polk ES15, the XT20, and again, poor Dayton Audio's pulling up the rear again, but that's okay. It's still a good speaker. If your main objective is to get the speakers to disappear, surprisingly, the Stage A130 with their aluminum dome tweeter, gone very quickly. Get them out from the wall a little bit, man, the soundstage goes behind them, very high. Very good. All of these do a decent job of soundstage and imaging. The Stage A130 does a much better job of soundstaging and imaging. Sony is good. Polks are good. Dayton's okay. A mid-range. Mid-range. These sound a little bit different. Okay, let's start over here. Sony SSCS5 has good clarity in the mid-range. However, it is a bit forward in the upper mid-range. Not as forward as some other speakers, but at higher volumes, it can be a little bit much. Can sometimes even be called bright. I still think the Sony SSCS5 is one of the best speakers you can get at the money, but its personality is that in the upper mids, it can be a bit forward. The Stage A130s from JBL also have a bit of a forward lean in the mid-range, not as much as the Sony SSCS5. Mid-range here is more balanced, also has great clarity. I think the Sony has a little bit more clarity than the Stage A130, but the Stage A130 is a little bit stepped back and going to be a little bit more tolerable for longer term listening sessions. The Polk ES15, the most warm, laid-back speaker on this whole table. Mid-range is smoother, warmer, more buttery. You're going to be able to listen to the ES15 all day long. And the mid-range has a warmer tone. With that warmer tone, though, you are sacrificing a bit of the detail from the Stage A130 and the Sony SSCS5. I still have Sith Audio file. Wait a minute. Sith Audio New England Clam Chowder Workout Fuel. Still had some on my thumb. All right. XT20 by Polk. This is a U-shaped speaker, so the mid-range is scooped out a bit. Mid-range is a bit cooler and stepped back. So this isn't really a warm speaker per se. This is a U-shaped speaker. It's a party speaker. The Dayton Audios have a pretty flat mid-range, and it's very detailed. And it's not forward. The interesting thing is, out of the table here, the Dayton Audios probably have the flattest mid-range, which is kind of surprising. Stage A130s also have a flat mid-range, but this one seems a little bit more forward than the Dayton Audio. Dayton Audio is neither stepped back nor is it forward, has a lot of detail too. I was surprised at the Dayton Audio. Treble on these is surprisingly really good on all of them and exceptional on some. With the two tweeters, the Sony, well, has a lot of emphasis on the treble and space and air. This speaker sounds very impressive, very detailed, and I think it is true detail. So if you have a source that can reproduce the detail from your recordings, the Sony is probably going to do the best job of serving up in a more natural tone. With the soft dome tweeters, there's not a lot of harshness or digital or metallic sheen to the music. With that said, the only aluminum dome tweeter up here is the JBL Stage A130. And while there is a slight hint of a aluminum dome tweeter here, for the most part, it is not overwhelming or distracting at all. The tweeter on here, again, gives enough detail, has a touch of that aluminum dome sound, but overall is very impressive for the price. The Polk, the ES15, has the most relaxed, laid-back treble on the table. Still has a bit of detail, but it is a warmer leaning speaker, a little bit rolled off on top. And for most people, it's going to be great. The only differences you're going to hear is if you're A-B'ing them between these speakers. And even if the treble is rolled off on one speaker or less pronounced than another speaker, over longer periods, oftentimes the speaker with less emphasis on the treble is going to sound better over longer listening sessions. The Sonys can get a bit intense if you have them towed in directly at you. If you tow them out, you can kind of adjust a little bit of that treble response. ES15 is the most rolled off. XT20s. This is the same type of tweeter material, but I don't think it's the same tweeter that's inside the ES15. This is sparkly, not as refined, not nearly as refined as the ES15, even though this one's a little bit rolled off. Not nearly as refined as the Stage A130, although this one has a bit of an aluminum dome metallic-y sound, but not that bad. It's pretty good still. Sony SSCS5 has the most natural sounding treble. The Dayton Audio actually is very good. I would say that the Dayton Audio probably comes in second for treble clarity, tone, and balance of the sound signature. It's not really bumped. It's just clear, it's detailed, it's very well done. I don't hear a lot of peaks or valleys. Nothing jumps out at me with a Dayton Audio as sounding off in the treble. So if we're giving out awards, it would be the Sony, probably the ES15, even though this is a different sound signature, more rolled off. I think the treble in the ES15 is very good, just not as apparent as the other speakers. Then it would go to the Stage A130. Even though this is a very good implementation of aluminum dome, at times I could still hear that hint of metallic-ness into the treble. Then it would go to the Dayton Audio and probably followed up by the XT20. XT20 is just, there's just a lot going on. The decay and naturalness of the treble on the XT20 just isn't as refined as it is on the Sony, the ES15, the Stage A130, or even the Dayton Audio. Frankly, the Dayton Audio may be kind of, so okay, I'll do it this way. Sony SSCS5 is #1 treble. Then it would be kind of a tie between the Dayton Audio, MK6 something, and the ES15, but they're different sound signatures. The Dayton Audio is more linear, the ES15 more rolled off, a little bit more laid back. They both have good treble, they just sound different because this one is not as emphasized. Not nearly as emphasized as the Sony, less emphasized as the Dayton Audio. Stage A130 is good. Okay, they're all good, but it's surprising how refined some of these speakers are. Okay. Final thoughts are, all of these speakers are really good and they have their places. If you want just a party speaker, you're not really concerned at all with a linear frequency response, the XT20, especially when it goes on sale for $225, is pretty awesome because there is a lot of bass quantity that comes out of here. Mid-range is a little scooped out. Treble is sparkly, dazzly, not the most refined thing on the planet. Decay isn't that natural, but it still sounds really good. And for $225, this is a fun speaker. Dayton Audio surprised the heck out of me. The one drawback is there's not a ton of bass here. And even when I tried to use tone controls, it didn't really sound all that great. So if you're considering the Dayton Audios, you may want to do it in a near field application, and you may want to have a subwoofer that you can blend in. All of these speakers are going to benefit from a subwoofer. But the ES15 by Polk, the Stage A130, and even the Sony SSCS5, with proper placement, you can get a good enough bass response. XT20's got the most bass on the table. Quantity, not necessarily quality. Stage A130, remarkably awesome for $200. Very good soundstage, very good imaging, very good mid-range. A hint of that metallic tweeter on the top end. But if you listen to it for a while, that kind of goes away. Can be slightly forward, but for the most part, it doesn't bother me at all. You can also control that with a little bit of toe in. Sony SSCS5, what I would consider to be the reigning champion, I think still deserves that moniker. Can be a bit forward in the mid-range for some. Can be a little bit lean in the bass for some. But the quality of the sound coming out of this speaker is completely remarkable. Even at its retail price of $170, I think this is a speaker to consider. However, I wouldn't buy it at $170. $130, yes. $80, yes. Every time it goes down to $80, I just buy another pair. Probably the most impressive speaker on the table for shorter listening periods. For longer listening periods, I think the ES15 from Polk is going to be the runaway winner. It has a warmer tone, great bass quantity, great bass quality. It can get maybe a little bit muddy in between the bass and the mid-range, but that kind of lends itself to the smoothness, the richness of the mid-range tones. Not too covered up, nothing like the S15. This is a really good speaker. Also probably the best built on the table in my opinion. Very good speaker. Not going to be as exciting sounding as these two or this one. Probably really any of them, but I think is one of the more refined speakers up here. Whichever way you go really depends on what you're wanting out of a speaker. They're all really good, and they're all surprisingly good for their price point. If I'm only choosing two though, I'm choosing the Sony or the Polk ES15. Stage A130, I like it a lot. Party speaker. This one's good for $150, just not a lot of bass. So if you want to support the channel, you can sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Every Sunday night we have Patreon-only Zooms. We also have a Patreon-only Facebook group. You can also sign up for Tidal or Amazon Music. There are links in the description. Click on the links, sign up. If you do, I get a commission, small commission. You can also use the links in the description to buy any of these speakers, except for the Dayton Audio. If you buy any of the other speakers, I will get a commission. Not on the Dayton Audios, but that's okay. They're still pretty good. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu. Save up $150 or so. Buy yourself an awesome speaker and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.